Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Chapter 4, Attachment versus Detachment. This is the new chapter. And we have seen attachment, the definition of attachment, and the various things that a human being is attached to. We have seen that. Attachment is, as we went into so many aspects of attachment. To put it very simply, attachment is exclusivity. To put it very simply, what is attachment? Attachment means exclusivity. Exclusive ownership is what is called attachment. Not a simple attachment. Exclusive ownership is called attachment. And in that exclusive ownership, the mind misunderstands a comfort, a security. Where there is this exclusive ownership, the mind believes it feels happy, it feels secure, not realizing seeking this exclusivity is what the problem of mental agitations is. Again, I repeat, the problem of mental agitations because of attachment is due to this exclusive ownership. Exclusivity means what? The object or a being. In fact, there is no being in attachment. Attachment means everything is reduced to object. First thing, even if we say attached to object and being, even the being we try to reduce to an object. So what is exclusive ownership? Exclusive ownership is nothing but the mind's demand that I should be paid more attention than anybody else. That's all exclusivity is. This is what attachment is. You take care of others, you relate with others and all, I don't have a problem. But exclusively it has to be mine. When I say exclusively it has to be mine, means it should be available at my beck and call. It should be available to me when I want it. It should be available to me in the way that I want it, it should be available. In the way that I need it, it should be available. This inevitably breeds sorrow and fear. This attachment inevitably results in sorrow and fear. That's why anybody who's attached can never be peaceful. Fear. The fear of losing makes a human being manipulative to hold on to so that you don't lose it. Again, I repeat. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? The fear of losing make you to manipulate. Manipulate what? How not to lose it. And inevitably you will end up losing. So what is attachment? Attachment is a satisfaction in exclusive ownership. Attachment is a satisfaction, joy in domination. So exclusivity is attachment. Domination is attachment. Using the other for one's pleasure is attachment. Using the other for one's pleasure is called attachment. The moment you start using the other, what happens? Heart breaks, despair, feeling cheated, abused, used. I got abused, sir. Somebody will come and say, I used somebody. Both doesn't make any sense. All this arises out of attachment. From another angle, what is attachment? Attachment is a demand of safety through a relationship. Feeling safety through a relationship is called attachment. And this very seeking security through a relationship, what you don't understand? The very seeking security through relationship is insecurity. The very seeking security through a relationship makes you feel so insecure. All this, I'm just summarizing what we have elaborated. We are not going to the elaborate analysis again. All that we have studied, if you remember any of that, you will be able to connect with these definitions as to what we are discussing, what we saw as the summary of what attachment is. Exactly the opposite of attachment is verbally, linguistically detachment. Please understand, it is not the linguistic opposite. It is conceptually, it is opposite. Attachment versus detachment is not linguistic opposites. This you should understand. The opposite of attachment is one way of living. Distinct and different from that is another way of living. What is other way of living? Detachment. So what is attachment versus detachment? A comparative study of two lifestyles. Two lifestyle is possible. A lifestyle of attachment and the lifestyle of detachment. Lifestyle of attachment we have studied. And we are going to continue the study also. What all we are attached to? Women, wealth, women, children, religion. These are the broad areas of attachment. A lifestyle of attachment to these things is called a lifestyle of a mental bondage with all this is called attachment. What is detachment? Relating and living with all these four without dependent on them is detachment. So you live with this four only. You cannot, are you able to understand the difference now? You live with this four. You cannot move away from wealth. You cannot run away from wealth. You cannot run away from women. You cannot run away from children. You cannot run away from religion. You cannot run away from that. You cannot escape these four. Only difference is what? You can be chained by that and relate with it, or you can relate with it in freedom. So detachment is a lifestyle of relating to all these with freedom. Attachment is a lifestyle of bondage with all these four. This is attachment versus detachment. Attachment is holding on to. Detachment means leaving it. Attachment means we are introducing the chapter. We'll go after we do this introduction, we'll go into the text. Attachment is holding on to. Detachment is, if we say holding on to, Linguistically, you have to say detachment is dropping, isn't it? Yeah. Angadan thinking la konjam use pannum. Angadan intellect varum. That's why he said last class, in this last chapter, intellect, you need to develop the intellect. Because you will talk about it as linguistically. If you are attached to means, detachment means obviously dropping it. No. But then we have already established that you cannot drop it. We have already established that you cannot drop it. Wealth you cannot drop. See, directly you may have wealth or indirectly you may deal with wealth. But nevertheless, from cradle to graveyard, you have to deal with wealth. How can you escape from wealth? It's not possible. The quantum may differ depending upon the person, that's all. But wealth as such is a thing that you cannot escape from. That is why when we introduce Vedanta, it says 4 objectives of life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The 4 objectives of human life. Purushartha, we call it as. Here the word Purushartha doesn't mean self-effort. Here the word Purushartha means that which is the meaning of life. Purusha means human being. Artha means meaning. That which is the meaningful thing to do in life. That which gives meaning to life. That which gives purpose to life. That which is essential to life. What are that which is essential to life? 4 things are essential. What are the 4 things? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You cannot escape. Okay, you may say, I may not deal with wealth directly, but you have to necessarily deal with wealth indirectly, isn't it? I may say, I may not have a bank balance. I may say, I may not, but then even if I'm begging and eating, somebody has to produce that food, no? Somebody has to make the food for me to give, even if I'm begging. That food becomes wealth. That food is the wealth. I may say I may not touching currency notes. Just because I'm saying I'm not touching currency notes or not having a bank balance doesn't mean wealth is not required. Wealth is an essential factor of life. That is established very clearly. The only difference is what? You can be attached to it or you can deal with it detachedly. But you cannot escape wealth. Second is Kama. Kama means, Kama is what? Desires. Without desire, action is not possible. Activity springs out of desire. Therefore, from cradle to graveyard, we are all acting. We all have to be in action, and action is possible only through desires. Therefore, the second thing, desire also becomes an essential integral part of life. So, Artha is necessary. Kama is necessary. Dharma. What is Dharma? A value-based pursuit of these 2 is Dharma. Value-based pursuit of Artha and value-based pursuit of Kama is called Dharma. Are you okay till now? Dharma, Artha, Kama. These 3 becomes the essential integral factors of life. In this, what is detachment? All along we are thinking detachment means getting rid of. All along we have been discussing detachment means getting rid of something. Detachment means getting rid of something. Detachment means getting rid of something. And we started by saying it is not about getting rid of something. It is relating to it. It is not getting rid of something. It is learning to relate to it rightly. This has to be very clearly understood whenever we talk about detachment. Are you able to follow? What is detachment? Ability to relate with it rightly. And what is the right relationship means? What is right relationship? Right relationship is not suffocating the other, not binding the other, not becoming dependent on the other. Not suffocating, not binding, not dependent, not indifferent either. Idallam than detachment. You are not indifferent either, you are not dependent either, you are not suffocating either. Idallam purinjina, you understand detachment. Are you able to follow? So, what is detachment? No indifference, no dependence, no suffocation, no binding. A lifestyle where you don't have all these four is called a life of detachment, and that detached life is Ananda bliss. And the detached lifestyle is Ananda bliss. Otherwise, what happens? We move within this four only. Either from attachment, we will move to indifference. From attachment, we will move to indifference, and that indifference will be misunderstood as detachment. Actually speaking, you don't get detached at all. You know what you do? As you are getting rid of one attachment, you are developing attachment elsewhere. That's how you can get rid of one attachment. As you are developing an attachment elsewhere, you get rid of one. Why? Because this one has started giving pain, suffocation. You want to get rid of the pain and suffocation, drop it, and the hope shifts to something. The hope will shift. Thus, what is attachment? Attachment is nothing but a hope of happiness and security through bondage. How to go to definition of attachment. If you remember that, you will be free. What is attachment? A hope of happiness through, a hope of happiness and peace through, a hope of happiness, peace, security through. What did I say? Through bondage. A hope of happiness through bondage. A hope of security through bondage. A hope of peace through dependency. Instead of bondage, use the word dependency. Hope of peace, security, happiness by being dependent is attachment. That's why everybody wants to be happy and nobody knows happiness. Everybody wants to be peaceful, but nobody is peaceful. Everybody wants to feel secure and nobody is feeling security. Why? Because a lifestyle, a wrong notion, a wrong understanding, a wrong conviction, what peace, security, happiness lies through dependence. But sir, from world dependence, we can become God dependent, no? And these people think they are holy, isn't it? Sir, world dependence is good, correct. But God dependence is okay, no? Whether it is world or God, dependency brings about the same result. If you are dependent on God, what will happen? The same God starts giving pain and suffering. The same God will start giving you pain and suffering. God is not giving you pain and suffering. Your dependency, which people do not understand. So intellect is required to understand what attachment means: seeking happiness through seeking peace, believing, convinced that peace, security, happiness comes through dependency. See, everybody wants to be independent. Everybody talks about independence, huh? And the way you hear people talking about independence, you will think they all have mokshatva, and in half an hour they are going to attain moksha. So I just want to be free, sir. I just want to be India. I can't handle this thing. I want all lip service. Because satisfaction comes from conviction is independency. Conviction is upon dependency only. Therefore, what is attachment? To summarize, what is attachment? Attachment is a hope. That person can make me happy. The situation can make me happy. This object can make me happy. Is not attachment. Again, I repeat. What is attachment? This person can make me happy. That person can be anybody. Child, it could be a child, it could be a pet, it could be anything. But that person can give me happiness. They introduce. The most important person in my life, sir, they will introduce. And the most important person becomes the first fellow to run away from in a matter of few years. Few years, no, rumba too much. Few months, it is. Few months itself is too much nowadays to handle, isn't it? Because the most important person in life becomes the villain in few months. Why? Attachment. You follow? This is called attachment. Now, what is detachment? It is not running away from this four again, because you cannot escape the four. Then what is detachment? Detachment is knowing how to relate and not be dependent. What is detachment now? Knowing how to relate and not be dependent. Knowing how to relate means what all 3-4 things we said. No indifference, no suffocating, no binding, no dependence. 4 words you remember. Again I repeat. Not suffocating, not binding, not dependent, nor indifferent. Obviously, you will move within. Obviously, you will keep moving within these 4 only. You can never get out of the 4. Now, what is detachment? Getting out of this is detachment. Talking about God and tempting about God is easy, but helping, educating a person on detachment is almost an impossibility. Again, I repeat, teaching about God is also relatively easy. Tempting about the benefits that you will get from God is also very easy. Yeah. The very fact that there are so many places of worship itself is a proof that you can tempt people through, you can tempt them. That's why there are so many places of worship, so many things are there, because people, you can tempt them. Are you able to follow? But almost impossible to teach a person on detachment. The problem of attachment and detachment is this. You can clearly see the attachment in others, but you cannot see it in you. The paradox. Again, I repeat. The paradox is you can clearly see how others are attached. You can see it very clearly, paradoxically, but impossible to see your attachment. Why it is impossible to see your attachment? Because your attachment looks very justifiable to you. That is why. Others' attachment is very silly, meaningless, suffocating. But areas of your attachment is very meaningful to you. That is why you can talk about detachment to other. You can see the attachment of others and you can talk. And when you look at yourself and stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself, what are you attached to? You will always say, here and there, small attachments is there, sir. But overall, I'm not. Overall, I am not that attached. Correct? Aparna. You will say, oh, okay, here and there I'm attached. I can understand that. Yes, correct, sir. I'm here and there I have some attachments, so I understand. But overall, in the way that indifference and suffocating and adalla, very clearly I can see it in others, but it doesn't exist in me. Knowledge says intellect is required to see the areas of your attachment. Intellect is required to see your areas of attachment. Looking at the areas of the attachment of others, you don't need anything because it is because you can see it. You can see it. Vedanta, we say, no point in seeing the attachment of others. You should be able to see the areas of your attachment. Difficult to see your areas of attachment. Why? Because what all lectures you are giving to other, you have to follow that, no? If you want to get detached, again I repeat, Shankar, what all lectures we have to give on detachment to others, if I start seeing my attachment, I need to practice that, and my mind will not cooperate to that practice. Therefore, the mind refuses to see its own attachment while it can clearly see the attachment of others. That's why it's called moha, delusion. This attachment deludes. Throughout the Shastras, we keep talking about this. It is deluding. Attachment is the stubborn mind refusing to move till it gets what it wants. What is attachment? The mind gets so stubborn. That's it. It will not move. It will say, unless you give me what I want, I will not do. I will not get up from the bed. It will make you lie on the bed all the time. It will not even allow you to get up from the bed. Why? Because it is not getting what it wants. In the best of environment, it will make you suffer. Why? Because it is not getting what it wants. So what you got to do now? Not knowing what to do, you keep yielding to that and keep giving what the mind wants. Not knowing what to do, you keep yielding, you keep giving. You follow? A spiritual person life is the life of a soldier. Spiritual transformation life is a life of a soldier. A soldier's life is a spiritual person's life. And nobody wants to be a soldier. Are you able to understand? A spiritual person's life is the life of a soldier. And what is life of a soldier means? Ready to take command, obey the command, and ready to die. That readiness to soldier is what? Readiness to die is the soldier. Most of the human beings are so weak, weaklings, isn't it? That's where Vivekananda said, I need few human beings who has a backbone, he said. He said, I don't need hundreds and thousands and all. All that I need is a few, 3-4 human beings who has a backbone. Tragedy is nobody's having that backbone. What is having that backbone? You tell the stubborn mind, get lost and get up and do. You tell the stubborn mind, get lost. I will not listen to you. What will happen? Sir, but suicidal thoughts are coming. I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I will hurt myself. I feel like this. I feel like that. People tell me all this. Immediately I'll say sleep. Immediately I'll say go into more depression. Don't worry. Go into more depression. Don't worry. Get into deeper depression. Don't worry. Because nobody wants to hear that. What? Die. A person who is ready to do that will not even come and ask this. The very fact that they are asking it means what? They want an external support to say it's okay to sleep. And I also say sleep. What difference? Whether you wake up at 7 o'clock or wake up at 11 o'clock, what difference does it? What difference does it make? Are you able to follow? Attachment is that stubbornness. What is detachment? A life. So a spiritual life is a life of the soldier. Soldier means ready to die for the sake of the country. That is a soldier. Second is a soldier ready to take command. Shastra gives you the command. The Guru gives you the command. Yeah. I will get back, sir. Now, it's not a command. That person is not fit to be a soldier. Isn't it? Yeah, the person is not fit to be a soldier. Long back, remember. In the school, they take for this NCC training, cadets and all, they come and take. They'll say, you come and join this NCC. And all. So some senior boy will be there or somebody from outside will come choosing who to choose, whom not. So everybody. So they will say, they will blow the whistle. Run. The school ground 5 times. Run. All the fellows will start running. At the 3rd round, the fellow will blow the whistle and say, stop. Whoever stops is qualified. Whoever continues to run or come and ask, but 3 rounds than aayirukudhu. 2 more rounds are there. Na? Punishment. Run another 5 rounds, etc. Does anybody have this experience of NCC and all in school? They do that, no? Correct? They do that. Half an hour, I got thrown out of NCC. I said, 3 தான் ஆயிருக்குது, இன்னும் 2 வார்டன் மேக். The boy said, run 5 more rounds, punishment. 3 கஷ்டம், 5 முடிக்கிறதே கஷ்டம், இதுல 10 எங்க போறது? He said, you are unfit. Soldier life is what? Take the command of the Shastra and implement it, even if it means dying. This lifestyle is called detachment. Able to follow now? This lifestyle is called detachment. Everybody will want the benefit of being detached, but no one knows what effort has gone into that. When you look at a detached person, you'll become so greedy that you want to become that straight away. But what you don't understand is the effort that the effort that goes into. So what is detachment? Put it very simply. Attachment is a covered life. Detachment is soldier's life. Attachment versus detachment. Life of a covered versus life of a soldier. You know what will be the life of the covered, no? And you know what will be the life of a soldier. This is attachment versus detachment. And Vivekananda said, we need few who have this. We need a few who has this. We need a few who are able to say, I want to get detached. அப்படின்னு என்ன சொல்றோம்? No indifference, no suffocation. What is detachment? No indifference, no suffocation either. This is called detachment. And this detachment brings about a different quality of life. This detachment brings about a different quality of life. Are you okay till now? You always seek freedom from that. You always want freedom. Everybody wants freedom. We are talking from a totally different angle now. இது வரைக்கும் என்ன சொன்னோம்? Soldier's life versus covered life. So attachment na covered life, detachment na life of a soldier. But I'm having a back pain today. The commander will say, get up. But I'm having a stomach pain today. He will give one hit in the stomach only, isn't it? I have a headache. You will say, carry 10 extra kilos more. Your headache will. Now, the life of a attachment versus detachment is life of the covered versus life of a soldier. அவ்வளவுதான் ஒரு introduction. பிரசாத் இன்னும் புதுசா சொல்லி பார்க்கிறோம், isn't it? Trying to say new things. Otherwise, we have heard this attachment and detachment a million times. What to talk now about this attachment and yet you can hear it million janmas also. It will still look fresh. It will still look new only. Yeah. Are you okay till now? From another angle, all of us wants freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from that which limits you. Something is limiting, something is binding, something is constricting you, and you want freedom from that. Correct? All wants freedom. This we understand. Correct? Everybody wants freedom. Sir, in the class, எப்போ சார் freedom கிடைக்கும்? When will I get freedom from the class? When will we get freedom from you? Freedom. Why? Because it is, when you seek freedom, when you seek freedom because you seek freedom from something that which is limiting you, binding you, restricting you, chaining you, correct? If it is not chaining you, if it is not binding you, if it is not restricting you, you will never say, I want freedom from that. Are you able to follow? Now the question is, since we are all seeking freedom, freedom from what? Freedom from what? We are seeking freedom from what? Not from wealth, not from women, not from children, not from religion. We all seek freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from misunderstanding. People misunderstand freedom means freedom from wealth, freedom from women, freedom from children, freedom from religion. You follow? This is not detachment. This is not freedom. Well, then what is freedom? Freedom is not dropping this. Freedom is, in spite of having all this around you, you will be free. That is detachment. Freedom is not freedom from this four. Freedom means having this four, you are still free. That is why, in relation to this, Ram Tirtha is quoted all the time. It is not, very poetically he said, it is not renunciation of action, it is renunciation in action. We keep hearing this a million times. It is not renunciation of action, it is renunciation in action. It means detachment is not dropping anything. Freedom is not dropping this. Freedom means freedom is, now comes the question, carefully follow. What is it that is limiting you? What is it that is constricting you? What is it that is restricting you? One human thought says external world. Change the external world. Another human thought says your mind. இவ்வளவுதான், ரெண்டே விஷயம்தான். One human thought says external world. Another human thought says your mind. Both, sir. கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் external, கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் mind. Does that possibility exist? No, that possibility doesn't exist at all. Therefore, freedom is either from the external or the internal. External exists. It is the mind that is going and getting attached. Again, I repeat. External exists. What the mind does, whatever is existing, the mind goes and gets attached. Correct? Are you going and getting attached, or something coming and getting attached to you? When something comes and get attached to you, you will say, "Pah, can't stand that person, sir. I can't stand." Why? Because that person is coming and getting attached to you. Correct? When you go and get attached, how it looks? When you go and get attached, how it looks? How it looks? One word. When you go get attached, how it looks to you? One word. Type பண்ணுங்க சும்மா. சும்மா டைப் பண்ணுங்க. One word தான் அது. I'm loving, sir. I am loving. It is love. Mirror. You are still under some medication effect. That's why, because when she is normal, she will not type like that. She's not normal. That's why she's typing like that. One word, love. When somebody comes and get attached, I feel the irritation and suffocation. When I go get attached, what will I call it as? You said justification. How will I justify it? By calling it as love. So freedom here means what? Your mind goes and gets attached. Objects exist. They exist. Invariably, the human believes it is because of the quality of the object you are getting attached. Correct? How can we not get attached? Are you able to follow? This is the most absurd argument. Why? Because this is the one of the deepest Vedantic epistemology discussions. Is the object beautiful and then you get attracted, or because you are attracted, it is appearing beautiful? One of the fundamental epistemology discussions of Vedanta, all this. Invariably, you know what is the answer? You are attracted, that's why it looks beautiful. Not because it is beautiful, you are attracted. Why? Because when the beauty goes, skin deep, they say. Yeah. When the beauty goes, what happens? When the beauty goes, what happens? Love goes. It means the depth of the love is what? Skin deep. Correct, no? Beautiful. This Laila Majnu story. And I can never get tired of talking about this Laila and Majnu. Romeo, world has seen extraordinary lovers, isn't it? Romeo, Juliet, Antony, Cleopatra, and ours is we also have some divine lovers, isn't it? In our story also. But nobody can beat this Laila and Majnu. Nobody can beat that. When Laila was cut, Majnu started bleeding. That is the amount of identification. When Laila was cut, Majnu started bleeding. Majnu, the handsome prince, and Laila, the common girl. And Majnu is going, Laila, Majnu is going. And everybody tried something to get that guy out of that, but that fellow won't get out. He'll be rolling on the streets, dusted. Prince, they will want to take him to the palace. He will say, father will say, come home. Come home. Majnu will say, what will Majnu say? Laila is my home. What an obnoxious attachment it is. But not that guy is a wonderful guy. And finally, who will yield? See, okay. Between the stubbornness of the child and the parent, finally who yields? All the parents will agree. What is the common answer? You can't handle the stubbornness of the child because you will, how long? 6 months? 1 year? 2 years? Ultimately, you yield, you collapse, you yield. Why? Attachment. You can't. Person is attached, you are attached, what will happen? That's what we call it as Holocaust of attachment. So finally, the king yielded and said, bring Laila to the court tomorrow. We will decide. Amada decide Pantang already, isn't it? What is there for the father to decide? Bring Laila to the court tomorrow. And Laila was brought. The king, the father, looked at Majnu and said, where is Laila? And Laila standing next to Majnu. The king is asking, where is Laila? You should see the description. Body shaming it is, but then you can't because nowadays we don't know anything you say, you can be in trouble, isn't it? The description of Laila is nothing but body shaming. How ugly she is and all that. The king thought Laila is Laila's maid, and Laila is coming behind. Not this is Laila. Whole assembly went. You know what was the reaction of the whole assembly? I have told this story many times. No. What was the reaction of the whole assembly? Huh? Ayyo. This is this. And the king showed 1,000 pictures of beautiful girls. Majnu, father, if you have to see the beauty in Laila, see through my eyes. See through my eyes. Huh? When you say somebody is beautiful, what does it mean? It is not that person is beautiful and you got attracted. You are attracted already, and wherever you are attracted, that looks beautiful. If you can understand this, you will get detached. Try how to get a person detached. The climax of the story is beautiful. A boy heard the story about Laila and Majnu. A boy heard the story about this Laila and Majnu. He went to the marketplace, bought a picture of Laila, and went on saying, Laila, Laila, Laila. Majnu heard about this boy. Majnu called that boy aside and said, it is not Laila. To love, you need to have the heart of Majnu. Find your own Laila, he says. Are you able to follow? To love, you need the heart of Majnu is what you needed to love. Leave my Laila alone and go and find out your own Laila. Means what? Have the, are you able to follow? It means what? You get attached to something, you get attracted to something, calling it as beautiful. What is detachment tells you? What does detachment teaches you? Everything is so beautiful, get attached to everything. Difference, Burida? Everything is so beautiful, get attached to everything. If the young, tight skin has a beauty, the wrinkled, old skin also has a beauty. If the green leaf has a beauty, the dead leaf also has a beauty. Everything is, if that is the reason for you to get attached, if that is the reason for you to get involved, you should get attached to the totality. Why? Because everything is so beautiful. From this, what do you understand? Detachment is dropping the few and picking up the total. From this, what do you understand? Are you able to follow the derivation? Now, what is detachment here means? Detachment is dropping the few and picking up the total. Attachment is dropping the totality and picking up that one or two. What is detachment? When you pick up the total, that 1, 2 is included in that. This is the life of a spiritual person. This is called universal love, and love a life of service and sacrifice. Are you able to follow now? Because the few is dropped, but what is picked up in return? The total is picked up. Why? The mind that is selecting the few is that which is restricting, constricting. So, what is it that is binding you now? Freedom. Now we are talking about freedom. What is it that is binding you? Is the external the cause or internal the cause? The external is never the cause because the external exists. Your mind is that which goes and gets attached. Abdina, you should get freedom from what? You should get freedom from what? Freedom from the mind. Freedom from the mind means freedom from your mind. For everybody, freedom is freedom from their mind. Why? Because it is the mind that is limiting, restricting, constricting. So what is freedom? Detachment means freedom. Freedom from what? Now, you cannot get freedom from wealth. You cannot get freedom from wealth. You cannot get freedom from women. You cannot get freedom from religion. You cannot freedom from children. All that you cannot freedom from. Why? Because they all exist. And they are never the cause for your problem. They are never the cause. They exist. இப்போதான் சார் கரெக்டா சொல்றேன் நீங்க அவங்க எக்ஸிஸ்டன்ஸ் தான் ப்ராப்ளம். Because they are existing, no, that is a problem. Why can't we just eliminate them? Why can't we just eliminate them? That's what people do. They try to eliminate, thinking that will give happiness. Either way, there is no happiness. Why? Because detachment means freedom, and freedom is always, freedom is that which you get from mind. Are you able to follow? Now, freedom means what? Disease, decay, failure, all this is part of life. You can never have a disease-free life. You can never have a life of no failures. You can never have a life of old age, death. In the midst of all this, you are happy is freedom. Are you able to understand what is detachment now? In the midst of old age, in the midst of disease, in the midst of failure, in the midst of all this, a person can be happy. This happiness, this freedom is called detachment. Vedanta proposes this and says it is possible to be free in spite of all this. Are you able to understand what is the proposition of Vedanta now? Vedanta doesn't try to alter any of that. Vedanta doesn't try to change any of that. Vedanta comes up with a beautiful proposition saying that in spite of all this, you can be free. And that is real freedom. And that freedom is called detachment from another angle. So, chapter 4, introduction. Attachment versus detachment. two different lifestyles. Versus இங்க சண்டைன்னு பார்க்க கூடாது, காம்படிஷன் கிடையாது. இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் பிரான்ஸ் வர்சஸ் அர்ஜென்டினா மாதிரி கிடையாது இல்லையா? இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் பிரான்ஸ் வர்சஸ் அர்ஜென்டினா கிடையாது. This is two lifestyles. One lifestyle vis-a-vis another lifestyle. Human being has this possibility to become free, has the potential to become free. He is not born free. A human being has the potential to become free. This potential is what is called, through making in the right effort, by the support of knowledge, you become free. So from two angles. From one angle, attachment means indifference, blah, blah, whatever we said. From another angle, detachment means freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from that which limits you. Freedom from that which constricts you. The moment you start feeling a pain, a limitation, you will want to get rid of it. Have you ever observed that? In normal circumstances, you will not want to give up your body. You will try to keep your body under all circumstances. The moment the body is going through one excruciating pain, suffering, there are so many people. When will I get rid of this? When will this body go? When will I get rid of this body? When will this body go? When under normal circumstances, the person will do anything to keep the body. At another point of time, the same person wants to get rid of the body. Why? Because you want to get rid of something the moment it starts giving you pain, difficulty. Vedanta comes and says that is not the way of detachment. You don't drop it, you drop your habit of going and getting attached. You have a habit. That's why he calls it as the Holocaust. The whole world has developed this habit. What is the habit? Alarming proportions it has developed, he says. What is it? Attachment. Attachment is like the life of the king in a parrot. That's the attachment. Again, I repeat. What is attachment? Attachment is the life of the king is in a parrot. All of us have heard this story, no? Childhood story. All of you would have heard this childhood story. What is this? A dictator king causing enormous harm and pain, and nobody could do anything because nobody can kill him. And then the boy goes and asks. The wise man says, in your Ponadhi, isn't it? You have to cross 7 rivers, you have to cross 7 mountains, you have to cross 7 oceans, and then you have to cross 7 caves. Where you will go? Yeah, you have to cross everything, and then there will be a cave. And that cave is infested with full of snakes and anacondas and cobras, and you cross all that, you go, there will be a parrot. A wingless parrot. Because it has no wings. A wingless parrot will be sitting. All that you got to do is what? Catch hold of that parrot catch hold of the parrot. And what to do? Strangle the parrot. You touch the parrot there, the king dies here. Yeah. That's attachment. So many parrots are flying around us all the time. Yeah. One parrot to another parrot. Yeah. So many parrots are flying around us all the time to agitate you. At least that king had only one parrot. Imagine you had 100 parrots, what will you do? More vulnerable. If you have 1,000 parrots, more vulnerable. That's how attachment makes you vulnerable. So attachment is vulnerability. Vulnerability to sorrow and pain and suffering. Detachment is potential for freedom. So attachment is a vulnerability for suffering. Detachment is potential for freedom. With this understanding about what attachment and detachment is, we will go into the text next week, not today. There are some clarifications. I'll take it up and then we will continue. Mala. Sometimes the duty get confused with love and we get attached. How to differentiate between doing the duty and not so-called love? Does doing the duty means listening to whatever the other person says and doing it, even if the action is causing severe discomfort to me? First question, Mala. Sometimes the duty get confused with love and we get attached. How to differentiate between the two? How to differentiate between the two? Define the word love, define the word duty, define the word attachment. It becomes clear. Again, I repeat. Define the word love, define the concept love, define the concept attachment, define the concept duty. Because in our normal thinking, we interchange these words so much, we use these words synonymously so much that the confusion arises. So, what is duty? What is the definition of duty? I'm just defining it. A Shraddha-based life on what the Shastras has said is duty. Duty-based life. Again, I repeat. What is duty means? A life on Shraddha. A life of Shraddha. A life of Shraddha based. That is called duty. Why Shraddha based? Because it is the Shastra that comes and says it is your. It is the Shastra that comes and tells you it is your duty. Do it. So what is duty? A Shraddha based lifestyle following the commands of the Shastra is duty. And the definition which is clear. That's why Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The Shraddha irundal jnanam kadikkunum. He has said it very clearly. Shraddha would discourse kega vardu Shraddha kadiyadu. Remember that. But I come with a lot of Shraddha listening to classes, sir. Regularly I will come, sir. 7:45, not a day I have come late, sir. That is not Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Duty. Duty is a lifestyle where whatever the Shastras has commanded you to do, you do. This is the definition of duty. Abro. The definition of love. What is the definition of love? Love is an identification that doesn't make you impulsive. An identification that doesn't make you impulsive is love. Otherwise, you identify and you get impulsive. An identification and not turning impulsive is called love. Ganesh, don't call me tomorrow. Huh? Again, he'll, sir, but yesterday, I've never heard this before. Something new. Yesterday. அப்புறம் எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு மெசேஜ் வேற போகும். Listen to this. அது வேற. என்னத்தான் சொல்றது? You follow what is love? Love is an identification that doesn't make you turn impulsive. What is the definition of attachment? What is the definition of attachment? Attachment is the inability to do the right thing even though you know what is the right thing. Again, I repeat. Attachment na enna artham? Inability to do the right thing even though you know what is the right thing to do. It's not attachment. That's why this attachment is deadly. In the concepts la புரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. You know it is not the right thing to do, but you cannot stop yourself from doing it. Why? Because the mind simply drives you into it. Now the question, in the word Zodiya, so all clarity must go around trying to understand these concepts. All discussions must be revolving around what? Must be revolving around understanding these concepts. Once you understand these concepts, application becomes relatively easy. So what you're asking is about the application. What is application? Does doing the duty means listening to whatever the other person says and doing it? Who is the other person? Who's the other? Who is the other? My husband, my children, my relatives, my friends. இவங்க சொல்றதெல்லாம் கேட்க கூடாது. Full stop. Doing the duty means listening to whatever the other person says and doing it கிடையாது. Mala. Doing the duty means listening to whatever Shastra says and doing it. Even if the action is causing severe discomfort. Answer Achepo. Who's the other saying? It is not the other doesn't, who's the other? That is very critical here. So when we say other, you need to ask yourself, who is the other? Invariably, who will be the other? The one who we have a weakness, dependence. Yes, Mala, solunga.
Sir, in the love word definition, you said the identification, which means oneness.
Yes.
It's like wearing the hat of the other person and
yes.
then feeling what the other person
Yes.
feels.
Yes.
Then, okay, I'm able to feel what the other person feels.
Yes.
But that feeling
Yes.
is not appropriate for me. Then also,
No. Wait. You are feeling the feeling of the other. The other is in pain. You are able to understand the other is in pain. Correct?
okay,
Yeah.
but if I'm able to understand what the other person, the other's pain is, I'm giving
Yes.
the solution, but that solution is not accepted, or the other person is excited. I feel the excitement, but that I know that that excitement is temporary and it's not correct.
Yes. You can't
But
do
then
anything
the
about
other
it.
person continues to feel that and continues to disturb me. Then am I loving or not loving? Or
You ca- when the other is in pain, you give a solution. What you are saying is, again I will repeat. When the other is in pain, you give a solution. Correct? Then when the other is in pain, you give a solution. That solution is causing excitement to the other.
no, the solution is not accepted by the other person.
Correct.
So they possibly continue to
Ah,
like the pain
ah.
and they simply
That is now
ah,
doctor has given the prescription. What the doctor can do? What the doctor can do? What the doctor can do? Prescription alone can be given. What the doctor can do more than that? If the patient is not listening, whoever the patient is, what the doctor can do? This is called detachment. You know where your limit ends. Your limit ends in offering help. Are you able to follow now? Detachment knows your limits. Knows your limits means what? Doctor can only give the prescription. What the doctor cannot do. What the doctor cannot do. Doctor cannot go into the mind of the other and change. Are you able to follow? What we are trying is, we want to enter into the mind of the other. That is not possible. That you don't do.
so what you're saying is identify with the other person, try to understand that what's going on with the other person and do what we can do as per Shastras and
Yes,
then detach.
that's it. That's all. That is called detachment. That is called love. Love, detachment, and love very synonymous. I'm
All
using
the
it very
three comes
synonymously
in
here.
this case. Okay. All the three we need
Yes.
to follow.
Yes. So that is why you say, you see the person in pain, you give you offer your services, you offer your help, you offer your services. But what you can't do, where lies your limit? Where lies anybody's limit? You cannot go into the mind of the other. You cannot change the mind of the other. All the time, what we are trying to do is what? Somehow, if we can change the mind of the other, problem is sorted out. Problem is sorted out. Problem is sorted out. That's how, in the distinct and different way of analytical study about attachment, detachment, we started by saying, you can you can change the mind of the other, or you can change your mind. What is possible? You can change your mind. What is not possible? You cannot change the mind of the other. That's all. Love doesn't mean you don't love. With love and affection, you want to help. But the mind of just because you love doesn't mean you can change the mind of the other. The problem we feel is what? We believe we can change the mind. That doesn't work. And the angle using it becomes clear. Mala.
All the three we need to play.
Yes.
We need to
Yes.
love,
Yes.
get the guidance of Shastras,
Yes,
and then detach immediately.
exactly. You have to love. Guidance is given by the Shastras, and where all possible, I am available to serve.
Because often, people expect that we should dance to the tunes. Only then that's called duty.
Yes, that is not duty. That is
I mean, whatever they say, we should just simply do what they say, and that's what
yes, that
people
is what,
generally expect. And
yeah,
it confuses me. Oh, am I probably not doing my duty? So
that
now
is
it's
what
clear.
we called as attachment. That is suffocating the other. And they confuse the other also by saying you are not doing your duty. By not listening to me, you are not doing your duty is the cheapest blackmail. You are not doing your duty. You are not doing your duty. You are not doing your duty is the most cheapest blackmail that anybody can do, and everybody does this only. Who defines duty? Who has the capability to say this is duty?
Shastras.
Who has the power to say this is duty? Not the husband, not the wife, not the child, not the boss, not the neighbor. It is Shastras alone. Therefore, duty is that which is defined by the Shastra. Others use it as I have seen it. I've seen it any number of cases. People use it as a cheap. The husband comes and tells the wife, you have not done your duty in return. The wife says, you have not done your duty in return. It's the word duty is used to blackmail the other. The word duty is used to make the other feel guilty. Are you able to follow now? Once you make the other person guilty, that person becomes your slave for the rest of your life. That's what everybody is trying. Once you have convinced the other that guilt, you have done a mistake, you are guilty, then I have made you my rest of the lifetime, you become my slave. In the name of relationship, in the name of love, in the name of affection, what is happening today is make the other person feel guilty, and through the guilt, control the other. Make the other person feel guilty, and through the guilt, suffocate the other. Control the other. This is not love. This is sheer. This is himsa. This is a life of himsa. That is why, if you remember, last class when we did this attachment, we say attachment equals violence. And a person of attachment is a violent person. But the violence will not be seen outside. That's all. Therefore, they think violent means kaila adicchada violence they think. This blackmailing is violence. Making the other feel guilty is extreme violence. Making the other feel all that is violence. And everybody does it. You follow? Mala. Vedanta comes and says, duty is that which has to be defined by whom? That's critical. யார் இது வந்து டியூட்டின்னு சொன்னாலும் அது டியூட்டி கிடையாது. Guru, Shastra, they are the authorities to say duty. Why they are the authority to say duty? Because they are selfless in nature. Whoever is selfless in nature have the power to command the others and say this is your duty. Purida? A selfless person. When we say Shastra Guru, what do we mean is a person who is selfless by nature alone can command, not the rest. Is it okay, Mala? Yeah. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with the reading of attachment versus detachment next week.